Hello, hello, friends. Robert Imbriali here. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is Friday. Friday is always a fun day to hang out. Glad to have you along with us. And we've got some really good stuff we're going to share with you today. Who needs AI when you have clips like that from Rush Limbaugh? Good to hear his voice again. My co-host joins us today. Lewis, hello, my friend. How are you?
Hello there, Robert Imbriali.
Hey. Love to see you, my friend. How have you been hanging out today? You've been doing well? Been keeping busy as always, I'm sure?
Yeah, well, I thought I had a day off just to work, and then I got the notice to be on the show, and I'm a good little soldier, so I showed up.
You are a good little soldier. Hey, before we get started, we should clear up a little confusion about yesterday, because I had mentioned yesterday that I had started something, and then Lewis took the ball, and people got confused about what I meant. I just want to clear that up so people recognize I had created a website, and my vision, well, a year and a half ago or so, was to be able to have weekly Zoom meetings with people and bring people together and have conversations that are empowering and uplifting. I never got it off the ground. Honestly, never got it off the ground. Didn't make it a priority. It's the way life works sometimes, right? It just wasn't important enough, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. So Lewis came along, and he's got this idea for the tour that he's created, and I'm really excited about it. I'm a huge supporter, and I will be participating more in the back end, more help with the video streaming and the shows and that kind of thing. But I'm all in, and no, Lewis is not stepping on my toes, not at all. I'm very happy to see that this is going. The Unity Tour is going to be really big. Its abbreviation is TUT, T-U-T.
I know, I love that.
If it's the king of all tours, then we could call it the King Tut Tour, but I won't go there.
The king of all tours. Oh, funny. Yeah, people read into things, but here's the reality. You and I talk about this offline. There's clearly a collective consciousness deal going on right now.
Yep.
Where there's a lot of symbiosis in thought, which I think is really amazing. And this is another reason why we are going to take our countries, plural, back, because of the symbiosis that's going through the collective consciousness. So we could all be individualistic and still be connected to each other at the same time. And that's the beauty of it. So you're thinking unity, I'm thinking unity. I'm sure many people are. We just happen to, I just happen to act on this one.
Yep.
And then we have the Unity Project and everything else that you're involved with. But talk about your involvement yesterday, and now it's my turn. Yesterday, I was so busy doing everything, I didn't even happen to mention the fact of all the work you're going to be doing in the background during the Unity Tour. I think in the foreground too, Rob, because I have a feeling that, during the news and everything, you're going to be, it's an everyday deal. We're virtually every single day we're doing something, which means there's content that's going to be out there every single day for 33 days. Yes, I said 33 days. 33 days. Why? Because we, the people, are taking our numbers back. We're not going to give the power to these Satanists anymore. We're done. It's over. So we're going to grab all the power back, and they are running scared. So the Unity Tour starts September 3rd. It's all free, guys. 50 cities in 33 days. It will blow your mind. This is going to be epic, and we're going to bring so much high vibration with songs and having a great time while we're there. I believe that we'll probably end up, I'm hearing inklings already that people are organizing little convoys to go to several stops and follow us along the way. So this is going to be really fun.
And just to be clear, the websites aren't available just yet, so they'll be up within a week or so. Lisa's probably working overtime on that. People were asking me yesterday, it's like, where do I go? Where do I sign up? How do I find out the exact date, the exact location? That's coming. We're just announced the tour at this point to say, here's what we're doing, and this starts September 3rd, so we got a little bit of time, so don't be too panicked.
We've got three. You guys have 3 months to organize, but yes, all that should be up within a week anyways.
Yeah. You won't miss it. Let's just put it that way.
Within a week. Sorry, Lisa, not a week. Not a day, not Monday. Within a week.
Oh, I think Lisa just grew a few more gray hairs. I know she watches every show too. It's amazing. Hey, our show today is sponsored by our buddy Matt Geiger at Midas Gold Group. You want to find out everything about investing in gold and silver? Great time to be thinking about that, being what's going on, and we're going to be talking about that in just a moment. You can reach Matt at MidasGoldGroup.com or by phone, 480-725-0536. And we thank Matt for sponsoring our wonderful show here.
And the Unity Tour.
That clip from Rush Limbaugh. We don't need AI. We don't need to create it fake. I mean, this was back and it's as pertinent today as it ever was, and they really are. And if you look at, and we're going to talk about this today because I know this is on everybody's mind, kind of usurping a little bit what I want to talk about, but I'm going to lead into the content that I wanted to share with you because I think it's relevant here. They're trying to muddy up his name, trying to get you, me, everybody, right, to turn our backs on him. Well, he's a con now. He's a convict, right? He's been convicted. So no, they're going to use that in every time you hear his name. Convicted convict Donald Trump. Convicted Donald Trump. Right? You're going to hear that constantly now, trying to muddy up his name. And I don't know about you, Louis. I was looking at some of the feeds this morning, and I'm like, I think it's not working. I think it's going the other way.
Yeah, you know where it's really going the other way quick is the black community.
Yeah.
The black community is coming out in force right now saying, wait. You know, and let's be honest. Of course, the left race baits us a lot, right? But the black community has also been held down. There's proof that there's operations through rap music and the CIA and drugs influxed in the communities that they've been intentionally suppressed. I'm not saying that's going on now, but that was a fact in the past, and it was all CIA and Democrat run. And what got me my first shadow banning on Twitter, the blacks in general, I say, have bought the narrative that the Democrats are trying to take care of us, but there's no fruit to that. There never has been any fruit to that. They've been used. And they're done with it. And now they can resonate with Trump as being falsely persecuted at the same time. That's my take on it.
He's now one of them.
Yeah, I'm this white privileged guy with that take.
Yeah.
And the reality is it's really resonating within the black community right now.
Yeah.
And they're saying, wait, we've had enough. This is crazy. And Trump said the best thing today in an interview. I don't know if anybody's seen it yet. He said at the beginning, if this can happen to me, this can happen to anybody.
Right.
And it does. It does. I know a friend that it happened to. He served 3 years in jail for something that he didn't even do. But because they put a 30-some year sentence in front of him, he just had to take it.
Yeah. That's
the game that they play.
The plea deals, everyone's taking the plea deals, and that's how they get you on that. They give you this massive sentence, and they say, well, if you don't take the plea deal, you go to jail forever, or you take the plea deal, and it's only 3 years when it really should be 0. So the lesser of two evils is really what it becomes. Yeah. So, yeah, I've been seeing the same thing. I've been seeing the backfiring. I've been seeing the emotional scale go all over the place. People are just in every emotional state you can imagine. There's some that are dancing in the streets. A lot of the people in Fox News, they are really happy to see this happen. No surprise there. They're kind of exposing themselves for who they really are. The left is, if you look at some of the media, Bannon was playing a bunch of it this morning on his show, they're gloating. They could not be happier. They're excited. They think this is like the best day ever. It's like the end of a war. You know, it's unreal. And I always ask the question, it's like, how could they be so far on the other side and not really see the reality? Because the truth is, if they can do this to him, they can do this to Biden, they can do this to anybody. They could take out their guy next, right? Because the balance of power is always shifting. We go Democrat, Republican, and we go back and forth, right? So at some point, now you've set precedent. If this were real, if this were, you know, we don't know what this situation is, but it'll flip at some point. So contain that happiness, my friends, right? On the other side. So the other emotions that we're seeing more and more of are, there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of frustration, a lot of hand-wringing. Why isn't anything being done? Well, they all play for the same team. There's very little being done. Oh, there's a couple of strongly worded letters that came out today, and there was a gentle request that Alvin Bragg come to Congress and testify. It's not a subpoena. It's just a request. He's going to deny the request, of course, and it won't happen anyway till June 13th. And you know what I mean? I could understand the frustration. We're looking at it. We're very frustrated with it. And then there's the other emotion that pops up with people, and they start to feel very sad, very depressed, and they go into helplessness, and they feel pummeled by all of this, right? We're seeing a lot of that. I've got some phone calls already this morning about people like, what's the point? What are we fighting for? We can't seem to win here. We're not getting a foothold. It may look like that, but Lewis and I have been telling you there's much more to this than we're aware of. Much more. Yeah. And there's a lot going on in the background, including stories today of a lot of military shifting their allegiance from following, the orders of Biden now to saying, screw it, we're not doing it anymore. So the split has gotten even bigger, apparently, in the military.
Well, which is a positive thing in the outcome. So let's give the number one mechanism of the deep state. I don't know if you read Alex's Soros's statement today, but it's in aligning with what you're saying. But this is MK Ultra at its peak.
Right.
Listen to this. This is what Alex Soros says. Democrats should refer to Trump as a convicted felon. Isn't that funny? Isn't that what you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
At every opportunity. Now listen to this. Here's the MK Ultra part. Repetition is the key to a successful message. And we want people to wrestle with the notion of hiring a convicted felon for the most important job in the country.
Repetition is hypnosis. Yeah.
So he's literally saying we need to hypnotize America. That's what Alex Soros. So if anybody was thinking maybe Alex Soros is not going to carry the torch that George Soros did, I think you already have your answer.
Exactly. It's the same with George W. Bush. When he was in power, people asked me, what's the difference between George Bush and Obama? And I said, one thing, speed. Obama got it done faster, but they were on the same trajectory. Mm-hmm. And I think we may be seeing this between Alex and his father. Alex is probably just going to get it done quicker and much more blatant about it, too. I mean, that I think Laura Worley told us that the number one tool, the very basic tool of MK Ultra is repetition. The more you hear something, the more it sinks in, the more it becomes your truth, right? And, if you keep adding that tag, convicted felon in front of when you're talking about Donald Trump, eventually they accept that as reality. Well, I guess it is reality at the moment, right? Until these charges get removed.
Yeah, and I think this is part of what you're going to talk about today is we are in control of the outcome because the outcome is dictated by our emotions.
Right.
And how we respond to things. So if we just choose to get depressed about this, or we choose to be angry and lash out, or do something stupid, or give up, right, or believe them, those are all choices.
Yep.
And those choices the ramification of those choices, to me, go through the quantum field, and they affect other people. So think about how important it is for the deep state to get you in a state of mind that's not positive. That's what they want. So we can own it and say, no, we're not going to give that to you.
Yeah.
So we've got this.
Controlling your emotions is controlling your reaction to situations, right? So one of the tools I've been using for, many, many, many years now, when something dramatic happens in my life, I always ask the question, what has not changed, right? Because we focus on the change, that's where we get a little bit uncomfortable, we get a little bit squeamish, right? But if you say, what has not changed? What's still the same? I woke up this morning, I put on my socks one at a time, I'm wearing the same shoes, I got, the same clothes on, I'm doing the same work, and you figure out all the things that are the same because that gives you the feeling of stability. So anytime you're in a situation where you're feeling unstable, just go back to the basics. I know it sounds stupid, ridiculous, and way oversimplified, but darn it, it works. You know what I mean? And then you figure out you've got this whole list of things that are the same today as they were yesterday. So let's look at the Trump thing. What changed between yesterday and today? He got a conviction. Is he still out? Yeah. Is he still campaigning? Yeah. What really changed? Right? At this moment,
Optics.
not a
That's
whole
right.
lot.
Right.
Right? However, that may be different on July 11th. We don't know if he gets sentenced, if they put him in prison. We'll deal with that then. But to worry about it now is wrong, because it may not happen. Right? So you want to stay strong. You want to stay grounded as much as possible. Look around you. Start enjoying it. People have been saying this, and it's the best advice ever. It's like, keep living your life. Until you're told differently, keep living your life. Do the things you do on a daily basis. Do the things you want to do. Plan ahead. Go out to eat. Whatever it is you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep living your life. You can't be. And I've done this. I tell you, in 2008, when Obama took over, I was like, and I stopped doing my business. And of course, it crashed, right? Because I was waiting for things to change out there. But then if I would have asked the question, what changed in here? Well, nothing. It all changed out there. It didn't impact me directly, immediately, over time maybe. But there's no excuse not to keep going. No excuse not to keep building the business. No excuse for not being on the phone with clients and doing coaching and doing all the things that I did, right?
Yeah. In fact, one of my biggest concerns in the first, let's say, 4 to 5 years of, let's call it this movement or this time period, is my concern was how people would adjust their lives based on hopium and based on fear porn.
Mm-hmm.
That was a major concern of mine, and I'm not happy to say that I was 100% correct. I mean, I know people that lost their vehicles and lost their jobs and their way of living because they were waiting on the Nasara Jassar or the Iraqi dinar to RV, right? And there's people out there because of the fear porn that just gave up and said it's all over, and they pretty much just buried themselves in their house and became a hermit. That's real stuff. Yeah. And I hope people in here in the audience in the chat will own it, because many of you went through the same thing, right? You cannot tie yourself to a narrative. What we can control is us, right? So I agree with you, Robert. Everybody needs to keep moving forward, because guess what? And I used to tell this to people. I ran very large sales organizations, and I would notice that based on people's emotions would affect their service to our clients and the sales. So one thing I said is I would always ask them in these meetings, I said, let me ask you a question. You don't have to raise your hand, but just answer it in your head. Does anybody have financial issues? Does anybody have problems at home? Anybody have emotional problems, health problems, family health problems? I said, if you feel comfortable, raise your hand. And most everybody raises their hand, right? And I said, let me ask you a question. If your finances are jacked up, are those problems going to get better or worse? 100%. Well, they're going to be worse because I'm dealing with the finances and this and this. I said, then why on earth would you not come to work and be the best that you can be? You have to be the best that you can be. I said, so I'd like you to do is go through that door and imagine there's this sheer warm wind blowing down, and when you walk through that door, all the problems that you have, you leave behind you, and you come in fresh and motivated. Our sales went up 20 to 30% on average just with that one training.
Common sense, right?
It's huge. But your mindset is so important. So that's why I'm excited about what you're going to be teaching today.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is people are asking that question and they get frozen. And this is the thing. It's like our Messiah, if you will, is Donald Trump. And what the cabal is trying to do is trying to detach you from that hope. And they want you to be in a state of hopelessness because what? Are we harder to control when we're hopeless or easier? Oh my gosh, we can be manipulated 10 ways to Sunday when we're in hopelessness, when we're in fear, when we're in doubt, when we don't see a future ahead. And what they're trying to do is put that guy into a position where you're going to lose hope. It's actually backfiring at the moment. People are even more fired up than they've been. But we've got to remember there's a lot of stuff going on that is outside of our control. Mm-hmm. If you want to be happy, you really got to look at the things you can control, focus on those, and pull those levers. We don't have control over the bigger things. We have control over local, We have control over personal. We have control over our mindset. We have control over, that's where our power is. And the moment you start reaching for, I'm going to control something at the federal level, you have no grasp out there whatsoever. You're just a speck of dust in that respect. Your power is here. And if we exercise the power, or is it the micro influences the macro that you always say, Lewis? It's really true.
Yep.
It's really true. So it's a time right now for us to come to our senses, literally, and to come back into our personal power and stop being, influenced so much by what's out there. They want us in fear. Look, they want us to feel hopeless. They want us to not be counting on Donald Trump. And truthfully, it's kind of an odd idea anyway to think one man's going to correct everything. Even if he were back in power today, do you think things will be better tomorrow? It's going to take a while. So,
yeah, and assume there's a big, huge plan,
yeah,
which it appears that there is. This is a massive, massive team that Trump has surrounding him.
Yeah.
And they must work symbiotically in order to get this done. So Trump, I think it is more of a conduit for the message. He may be leading we the people, but I would suspect internally he's even led at times in certain directions.
I believe that even more after watching the speech this morning. Right? I don't know if you picked up on the energy of Trump, but it was really low. It's not the normal Trump we're normally seeing. He was beaten down, sounded like he even had a cold, didn't sound his normal self, and he was rambling and going in 10 different directions. It was hard to follow him. It's like, interesting. Is it because he doesn't have the teleprompter in front of him? Nobody wrote the speech. He's just disheveled from all of this stuff, but he's apparently today taking time to refocus himself, which is important to do. And we've all got to do that. Because this stuff, and I hear it all the time, and I'm sure you do as well, Lewis, people just get derailed by it all. Because it's really hard to follow. Right?
Well, show or not show, he's probably worn out.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. It takes a lot of energy to perform, and then it takes a lot of energy to deal with this stuff too. So it's pretty interesting. I think this is a whole lot bigger than you, me, President Trump, and I think we'll learn that in time.
It's mass consciousness, and that's what you and I talk about. It's like, it's interesting because Lewis will have an idea, and then I'll go, oh yeah, I had that idea too, or I'll have an idea, and he'll say, yeah, I've had that idea too, and it's like, well, how is that even possible? You know what I mean? We haven't talked about it. It's just not anything that we've texted about. It's just like, it's just there all the time. And there's this mass consciousness. There's this intelligence, if you will, that swirls around, and we get the downloads from it, if you will. And I think a lot of us who are in these positions of being able to do something about it, we ask for that information and we receive it. And then some of us will take action on it. Some of us won't, and it's really important to really pay attention to that, because that really is where our power is. Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about where you're coming from right now. And it's like, here's the thing that, and you probably found this working with a lot of people in sales. Every human being has a gift that they take for granted. Oh, it's just easy for me. I'll just go do this, and this. You look at them, wow, you can do that? Yeah, I don't even think about it. I just do it. That's their gift. And what we do is we take it for granted, and we don't recognize the value that could be to the marketplace, or in this case, society. So you look at it from that perspective, and you say, okay, so what is my special gift? You got to do a little bit of introspection there and say, what is it that I do that it comes so easy for me that somebody else would love to do or would need that kind of service? And you can start to fit yourself in. Now, this is what happened with me. I'll go into a story of manifesting, right? So how did I end up here doing a news show with this guy? Was it an accident? Lewis, did I get on my knees and beg? Please do a show with me? No, not at all.
In fact, I think you manifested me calling you.
Pretty much. And it's quite a long story. I want to share it with you, but I want to talk about manifesting. How do you, if you were to define the word manifesting, what would you say? How would you define it?
That's a great question.
Got to start at the beginning, right?
Yeah, you first have to have an idea.
Bingo.
Everything, I call it a spark.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a God spark, but every you have to have that spark. And then that spark is the idea. And then it's actually, manifestation's pretty simple when you really grasp it. to me, it's just something that you visualize that comes through, in my opinion, through the quantum field, which is it's it doesn't activate until it's observed, and I mean observed on a quantum level, and then therefore it just literally manifests in front of you. Um, I can tell you that my wife is really good at it. One of my sons is phenomenal at it, and I'm getting pretty damn good at it. But it took me a while because I overcomplicated it.
Yep.
And as soon as I found out that it's simple, it was amazing.
It is poorly explained, generally speaking, and I think out there a lot of people get a misrepresentation of what manifesting is. People will think of manifesting, and if they watch the movie The Secret, manifesting, you just think about it and it'll show up. There's a little bit more to it, not a lot more to it, but the key element that's missing, I'm gonna share a story with you, and I'm gonna have you guys try and suss out what the key element was that made it all come together, makes it all work, right? And it's actually in the Bible. People don't talk about it much, but it's actually in the Bible. It's written there. There's a lot in the Bible, I think, that is hidden from us, things that are kind of not explained all the way, if you will. There's some parts missing, and it's up to us now to kind of figure out, okay, what's the pieces that's missing? Because I believe as human beings, we're much more powerful than we've been told. And I believe we come in with a lot of gifts and a lot of skills and a lot of abilities to connect with the higher self, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. It's up to you. I think we can connect there. And guess what? It's trained out of us. Oh, Lewis, you have that gut feeling about, don't do that. Because logically, that doesn't make any sense. Go over here instead. Right? Yes. And what ends up happening is oftentimes you get steered wrong. Damn it, I should have listened to my gut feeling. I knew. Women call it intuition, by the way. Men, we don't go there. We call it a gut feeling. It's my gut, man. It's my gut tells me that's not the right thing to do. Same thing. So when we learn to pay attention to that, life is a lot easier, right? A lot easier. So I'm going to go into a story. It's a little bit revolving around me, but it's not about, hey, I need the ego pat. I don't need the ego pat. I just want to show it to you because it's instructive. It's a little bit of a long story, lots of elements to it, but I want to show you how I ended up here. And where, I don't know where it goes next, but I know it ain't done yet. There's a lot more to come. But before I do that, I want to tell you about a great website that you should go visit, screwbiggov.com. If you have not been there recently, please go over. Most important button there, I believe, is the social media button, because you will find Lewis's actual accounts, not the fake ones, not the copycats. The actual accounts are there. Very easy. Click on that button and you'll find all the links everywhere that you can find him. And I understand there might be a new TikTok account as well. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah,
and
there it is.
You can find me at Renegade Media on Telegram. So that's one place you can go, renegademedia.tv. If you want to email me, robert@renegademedia.tv, and you'll find out everything that I'm up to over there. All right. So, a long time ago, in a galaxy far... No, not going there.
You did that, and immediately I had American Pie in my head.
Did you?
That's so... Yeah, I'm a long time ago. It's so funny.
Oh, the programming, Lewis, is just unstoppable.
It is.
So I'm going to talk about manifesting. I'll tell you how I manifested this position that I'm in here, and how I continue to manifest, and how it continues to unfold. And as I go through the story, I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. Number one, I want you to understand what manifesting is and what it isn't. Because there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of misinformation out there. If you watch the movie The Secret, they still kept it a secret. They still didn't give you the whole story, which is kind of interesting if you think about it. And I'm gonna give you the clues, and at the end I'll tell you if you missed it. I'll give you the pieces that you may have missed. Okay, so again, I was doing a podcast called Coach's Corner. This was back in my studio, and my hair was already white then. Huh? Who knew? So I started doing that, and what happened was the day before this happened, Mitch Axelrod, a good friend of mine, was in the studio, and we had heard from Newsom that he was shutting down the state of California. So we had to shut down the studio, put the key in the door, don't come back until we tell you. Kind of woke me up, right? I was going along in business. Now, so many people got to that same point, and they woke up and they said, I got to do something. So I'm in the studio packing the car. This is my thought process. all of a sudden I got the thought that I want to be part of the solution here, not part of the problem. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know where that would lead. So I started doing, as you saw, the coach's corner. I started to talk about, all the ways that you could treat it naturally, that kind of thing. And immediately got the boot on YouTube, got shadow banned. And I said, I must be onto something here. So the prevailing thought was, what skills, and I mentioned this earlier, what skill do I have that I could use to become part of the solution rather than part of the problem? Well, I can do videos, I can speak, I can stand on stage, I can write, I can coach. I've got all those gifts, right? Those are things that, for me, come easy. I don't have to think about speaking. I just show up and, I don't know, this other side of me comes out and I get turned on and off we go. So it's great. So I was thinking about that. So as I was packing the car to leave the studio that night, I said, if it happens that I can't come back here, what do I need so that I can do this? I can be part of the solution. Grabbing cameras, microphones, wires. I filled up the car with all this stuff, right? And I thought about it and I said, what if I can't ever make it back to the studio? What if somebody burns the building down? How do I go on? And that was the thought process. So that went on, and then I got all the stuff and went home and I said, I am not stopping because everybody else has stopped. It's not part of the solution. It's being part of the problem to stop. So I'm going to keep going. And I had this idea in mind. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. So I started doing videos, maybe once a week. I wasn't doing a daily show. I was doing a video once a week, spending an hour and a half looking at the news, looking at everything that was going on, and just doing sort of a recap of it. And it sort of sparked me a little bit, because it's like, wow, I really need to talk about this stuff, but I need a bigger platform. 100 people, 200 people, 500 people watching just wasn't enough, right? Because you want to be part of the solution. It's got to be bigger than that, much bigger than that. So I started to do this show, which I called the Renegade Media Show. Actually, it was called, you see the logo there, it was called Polyhealth, Politics and Health. Because what was going on at the time? Politics and health didn't work out. Nobody liked Polyhealth as a name. So we go on. But I started to do that and continued to do that. And then Phoebe came into the room one day and she says, I just bought us tickets to the Truth Tour. What's the Truth Tour? Never heard of it. She goes, well, I just got us VIP tickets. You want to go? And I'm like, well, you already paid for the tickets. Yeah, I definitely want to go. Right? I don't know. So this is part of the manifesting process, right? So I didn't know I didn't ask her. I didn't say, go look for something that we can, I didn't say anything other than I was doing my little videos. And she was starting to sense that there's an energy there and there was something that I was doing that was for the greater good. So she found this and she bought the tickets. Now, this was Truth Tour number 1. It was a second stop. It was in San Diego. And they were a little bit late getting set up. Now, I saw Lewis, but I didn't meet him there. I saw him in the room. I actually thought Doug was the guy in charge. Had no idea, right? And they were late getting started and we were sitting up front. And I remember just getting up and stretching and then wandering over to the podium in front of that room. And this feeling, very strong feeling, came over me. It says, I belong here. I didn't understand it at the time. I don't know where that came from. It was really strong, though. So I stood up there for maybe 5 minutes or so, just looking at that audience and going, I've got a message these people need to hear. No idea where that would lead. All right, so driving home that night, same thing, same feeling. It was really, really strong. I belong there. I belong on that stage. It was a great event. Had a lot of fun. 2-3 days later, a friend of mine, Lee Miltier, some of you know her. She's been on the Truth Tour. She's been on the Truth-a-thons. She posted on Facebook that she was going to speak at the Truth Tour stop in Virginia Beach. So I sent her a message. Lee, I just got done with the Truth Tour. Great event. You're going to do great. It's wonderful. Great guests. Everything's just going to be fantastic. She doesn't tell me anything. She doesn't respond. A couple of days. She called Denise Bliss Phillips, who was running the Truth Tour at the time, booking all the speakers. She said, Denise, I got my friend Rob. You need to have him on stage. I get a call from Denise Bliss Phillips out of the blue. I don't know Denise Bliss Phillips. She doesn't know me. She calls me and says, you know, we'll have the finale event in Vegas. Do you want a speaking slot? And I'm like, sure, that'd be cool. Interesting, right? Just having this in mind. You can see the struggle, by the way. Can you feel how much struggle, how much begging, how much pleading I had to do to get here? I go to Las Vegas. Really cool place, Ahern Hotel. Everything's set up, really beautiful. I go over and I see Lewis sitting there, and I'm waiting for him. He's behind his computer typing away, working as Lewis always would do. And I just waited for a moment where he wasn't working, and I introduced myself, and he stands up and he goes, "Lewis Herms." In that moment, you can tell, right, when people are authentic. I said, this guy's authentic, he's honest, he's a hard worker, and he's going to make a difference. All that information came to me just like that. You say, come on, you didn't even talk to the guy. 2 words. Sometimes you just know there's that connection. So I go up, I do my 17-minute presentation, had a lot of fun, really enjoyed it, stayed around, met all the other speakers, sitting behind there where the speakers sit. This guy comes sitting down next to me. He's wearing a flag shirt, kind of interesting, right? Really wants to show his pride for America. And he introduces me to his wife, Natalie. He introduces himself as Poppy. I'm like, Bruce Poppy, hey, what a cool guy. So I met him there, connected with him. Truth Tour 2 comes along. All of a sudden I find myself in Anaheim. I decide to take on a bigger role. I jump up and help with the AV. I help with this. I help with that. I get to the event in Anaheim, and Denise Bliss Phillips, I go introduce myself and didn't see her again. And she says, "You're a motivator, right?" I said, "Yeah, I am." She says, "We need someone to rile up the crowd before we get started. Can you do that for us?" I'm like, okay, sure. So here I go, and I do my little presentation. I get the crowd all going, helping out with AV, doing all that kind of stuff. Not really interacting much, with some of the audience and having a little bit of fun and really understanding what my role is. Again, you see the struggle here, right? I'm begging for all these positions, begging for all this stuff. You could tell I'm sweating it out here, right? Why is it flowing so easily? What am I doing that's causing the flow? After Truth Tour 2, I think Truth Tour 3 it was, we hosted 2 of the events, one at the farm, one at my studio. And then I get a call from Lewis, and he goes, "Hey, I'd like to partner up with you on some stuff." I've interviewed him a couple of times on my show. He's had me on his show. All of a sudden we start talking. We start working on different projects together. And you can see eventually we end up doing a show. And then, I'm just helping out in the background. All of a sudden I'm co-hosting. Okay. Let's look at the manifesting here. It starts with a spark of an idea. What was the idea? I have a skill of speaking. I have the ability to get out in front of an audience. I have the ability to do video. I have all that stuff. I decide I want to use that for the greater good. Did I know that this is where it would lead? No clue whatsoever. None. And it continues to unfold. We're not done yet, right? We got the Unity Tour coming up. We've got other Truthathons we're probably going to do. There's probably other live events, virtual events, all kinds of this stuff happening. I don't know what the future holds, and I'm not worried about it. Why? Because my intention hasn't changed. I still want to be here for the greater good. I still want to use my skills, knowledge, and ability to help as many people as possible. That's the manifestation. Not any more specific than that. Okay. So how does it work? Starts with an idea, but what's the next piece that nobody talks about, or very few people talk about, to make it happen? It's written in the Bible. What do you think, Lewis? You got any clue there?
Well, I think one of the big ones I see missing from like The Secret, things like that, are you need to emotionalize it. Some people may call it feelings. I don't know if that's where you're going, but that's one of the big pieces here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's part of it is to believe it, right? To have a strong emotion about it, and to believe that that can be possible. I didn't have the strongest vision. I just had the vision of I want to get out there, and what I find, and you find, I see this happen with you all the time. You think you're not a great manifester, you're an amazing manifester. Because how this works, we don't focus on the how-to. It's not our job. We focus on moving forward along our path, and what happens, the Bible says that God provides help, and the key words here are along the way. Mm-hmm. So as we're going forward, do you know everything that's going to happen on this tour that you've got planned? No. How is it all going to come together? You don't know. And you're not worried about it because you know darn well it will, as it did with the 3 previous tours you've done, right?
No, I have learned with manifestation though. Just looking at the destination, having that goal set, that destination, and just knowing. I just know you're going to get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what the journey is to get there, and this is where God plays in and does all these other things, and it's amazing. And sometimes that destination, you'll take a detour and end up with something a lot better.
Yep.
So it is incredibly powerful, but just knowing is so important. And then I always feel like there's wind at my back, which is really cool.
You look at the mountains and you say, okay, I want to go to the mountains. That's where my goal is. I want to go to the mountains. I want to go to the mountains. I want to go to the mountains. And then what you find is there are many paths that'll get you there. And then you may get to the mountains. You may decide, well, I'm here at the mountains, but I don't want to be at the foot. I want to be at the top. Then you find there are many more paths to get to the top, right? And this is kind of the way it works with us, is we don't worry too much about the how-to. And it's strange because the how-to is like 20% of it. 80% is the what and the why. The how is 20%. We focus all our attention on the how-to. It's not our business. That's up to God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, to bring that, to show you that. But it doesn't happen, right? If you're not going along that path. If I sit on the hammock in the backyard with a glass of iced tea and I go, all right, I want to manifest a new car. I'm just going to sit in the hammock. Maybe I'll take a nap. It's not in the driveway yet. What the hell is it? It's late. Come on, where's my new car? Kind of doesn't happen, does it? But if I say I want the new car, then the things line up to make that car a possibility as I move forward without necessarily worrying about it, right? So it's easier than a lot of people will say, and they often will complicate it to the point where, gee, it doesn't work for me. I don't manifest. Ladies and gentlemen, may I be the first to tell you, you're manifesting all day, every day. Where are you putting your focus? What are you thinking about?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the most powerful tools of manifestation is worry. And that's what the cabal is so good at getting to do.
Yep.
Because the cabal can't manifest. They don't know how. They know how other people can manifest, but they can't manifest them for themselves, because you don't generally manifest a negative experience for others. I don't believe that's the way manifestation works. I believe, though, that you can manifest negative experiences based on worrying thoughts, because you attract to you that which occurs.
Correct.
So I think it's very important to understand is, I think my wife says, when you worry, you're praying for something bad to happen. I'm not quite sure how she says it, but it's it's a lot better when she says it, but you get the gist.
That's why they keep us in fear. That's why they create dark scenarios. Anytime you watch the media and they say what that means is they're future pacing you. That's an NLP thing. They're future pacing you always toward the negative, right?
Yep.
To get you to think toward the negative, because if you're thinking about the negative, you are manifesting it whether or not you like it. Money's been always a challenge for me over the course of my career. It's always looking for money, always looking for money. And when I focus on the money, never comes in. Just doesn't come in, right? Because what I'm focused on really is the lack of money.
The lack, beautifully said.
I keep manifesting more lack, more lack, more lack. I don't have money in the bank. I don't have money in the bank. I need more money. That's all lack, right? So a new mantra for me has been, there's always money for the things I need, and it will always show up at the right time. It may not be in the bank just sitting there waiting for me, but it always, and this has been my experience now for the past 20 years, money just shows up. Wherever I need it, it just shows up. I don't know where it comes from. I'm not really that connected to all of that. It's just, someone will call me out of the blue and say, I need help with this, or I need help with that. I give them a price. It's just like, it just comes. So where are you focusing? What are you thinking about? And you think, okay, so what's our power? Our power is between our ears. That's 6 inches between the ears, that gray matter, which I find interesting. If you look at the brain, and you take the brain out and you stick it under the microscope, why can't you find any memories, any knowledge, any skills?
Yeah. It's in the ether.
Well, yeah. So is the brain a hard drive or an antenna that's both sending and receiving? I might be going a little deep here, but it's a question worth asking, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So I believe we're connected all the time. We're connected to God, higher self, whatever you want to call it. We're connected constantly. We're both sending and receiving, and we are creating our future. And the more you worry about money, and the more you worry about your relationship, and the more you worry about what's going on with Donald Trump and politics and all the rest of that, we're manifesting it. We continue to manifest it. We continue to bring it into reality. And I'm really did, because that's all we heard 24/7. It was in our subconscious. We're thinking about it all the time. I don't want to get it. I don't want to get it. I don't want to get it. You get it. Why? Because you've been focused on it. Now think about that. When I say, unplug from the media, I think it's a good idea to unplug from the media. One thing I tell people to do is go look around you. Go look at the people who are really wealthy that you know. Are they smarter than you? They have more education than you? Are they more clever? Or do they just have a different outlook? Oftentimes you'll find you're a lot smarter than the person who's got the $1 million in the bank, right? How often do you see that, Louis? You just see that all the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, firsthand, not to throw my son under the bus, but he manifests everything, and it just pops up all the time. And he's not the hardest working of my 7 kids, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
But he's got this knack to say, okay, this is what I'm going to have. Boom, there it is. That's just absolutely incredible.
He's in the flow. He's in the flow. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, and having that positive outlook and really, we focus so much on what we don't have and what we don't want. Imagine how your life would change. Very simple exercise. Just start spending 10 minutes a day focus on things you'd like to see. I'd like a new car. I'd like a new place to live, and then see yourself there. Oh, I got a brand new swimming pool. I could see myself diving in on a hot day. It feels so good, right? And bring those emotions in and start connecting with that energy instead. See how your life starts to change.
One of the most powerful tools that I've learned is being grateful.
Yes.
By far. Be grateful for what you have. But here's how the power works with manifestation. Be grateful for whatever you're manifesting already, as if it's already happened. Wow. The light just goes on for people when they start doing that.
It really does. And they talk about appreciation being actually more powerful than grateful, and actually matches the energy of love. And one simple thing you can do is go around the house right now, go around the house when you're done watching this, and just appreciate all that you already have. Right? Because we've got so much already. I mean, it's crazy how much we have in our society. And just start appreciating it. And what'll happen is you'll start attracting more of it. Ooh, that's where your focus is going, huh? Where focus goes, energy flows, as Tony Robbins says all the time. It's really true. So just go around the house and appreciate. I appreciate this beautiful microphone I've got. I appreciate this beautiful monitor. I appreciate my beautiful friend Louis. I appreciate all this stuff. And you're in that space instead of fear and worry, which is what they want you to put you in. All right. Where does fear exist?
Let me add one thing to this really quick, because this is very, very important. And this is a quick story. The first time my YouTube account got deleted, and when I say deleted, I mean deleted, out of nowhere, just gone. No warning, no strikes, nothing was going on there. I put a 15-second clip with no audio that said, "Manifest your destiny. We the people won." Deleted the account.
Wow.
This is a true story. If that doesn't tell you how powerful the cabal thinks manifestation is, I don't know what does. Can anybody say that their account got deleted for less? I doubt it. That's because on their list, that's a scary thing to talk about.
Yeah, well,
maybe just the fact it was just that 15-second message and there was no audio. They're just like, oh my God, this is just too powerful. It's too simple, right?
Yep.
Crazy. So that should tell people how important manifestation is.
Life is actually much simpler than we've been taught, truthfully, right? They complicate it, and the reason they complicate it is so you can't figure it out. Simply, that's the game. So if we talk about this emotion of fear that they want us in all the time, where does fear exist? I went on Amazon this morning, Lewis. I was looking for some fear. I wanted the fresh one, the organic, free-range, gluten-free fear. I just wanted a quarter pound. I looked and looked. I couldn't find it.
Not even on Amazon.
Not even on Amazon. I mean, I thought for sure it would be there. I mean, somebody's got to be selling fear.
Yeah. Well, the mainstream media is giving it away.
They're giving it away for free, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, brother. Yeah. So when you look at fear, you say, okay, I'm feeling fearful. What are you feeling fearful about? Right? And do you really have to have those feelings, because they don't exist in real life? You can't touch them out here. You can't put them in a bottle. You can't write them in a book, or that kind of thing. So why have it? Why don't you let it go? They teach them in the military not to have fear, right? So the Marines have no fear. They train it out of them. They literally train it out of them. So they're absolutely fearless. They don't have that emotion. Could we do that too? Oh, wouldn't that be horrible for the cabal? All of us not feeling fear, no matter what they pulled, we're not feeling fear.
And or if they would crush, they would fall.
They would fall
overnight.
Yeah,
because then we would resonate at a higher level. And this is part of what the Unity Tour is going to be doing, is bringing the vibration, our frequency so high that will be impenetrable to the negative aspects of this. Hey, Robert, considering I have to go soon, let's real quick. Why don't you announce what you're doing, just so everybody can get an idea. I think it's pretty exciting, and I really appreciate it too.
I have 4 pages of notes. I haven't looked at them yet because that's the way I roll. I'm putting on an event, virtual event, folks, that is going to be a lot of fun. It's called Breaking Free of the Matrix, and it's a lot about mindset, and it's a lot about manifesting. And we're going to do something kind of interesting. We're going to do group manifesting. So it's going to be a very small group, under 25. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually do something for the Unity Tour as well. We're going to manifest good things for them. And we're going to do it as a group, because whenever 2 or more are gathered, you amplify and multiply the results. So we're going to be able to do that here. We're going to teach you all about manifesting. I can go a lot deeper than I did today. It's kind of a broad brushstroke overview of manifesting and mindset and stuff. But we're going to go really deep. Small group virtual event. It'll be via Zoom. It'll feel like you're in the room with me. We'll have the opportunity to interact with one another. You'll get to meet and greet and exchange phone numbers and email addresses if you want. And you'll get your questions answered. You'll just put your hand up and I'll just bring you on and we'll talk about whatever it is you need to talk about. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to doing this for quite some time. It's been one of the things that I used to teach quite often, and the results are quite phenomenal. Just being around that energy, that positive energy, for 2 full days. So it'll be June 14th and June 15th, a Friday and a Saturday. It'll be 9 to 5 Pacific time. And we'll spend the days together and we'll go through all of it. I don't hold anything back, and there'll be surprises. There'll be things that will spring up based on the conversations that we're having that will be off script. And I'm happy doing that. And I'll also give you a little workbook so you can follow along as well. So the admission is $425, but if you use the code SBG at checkout, you can take 30% off. For those of you who watch this show and love us, want to give back to you as well, so you have 30% off. You will have a full guarantee. If you take the course and at the end of it you go, I don't feel like I got the value out of this thing, I'll give you a refund, no questions asked. Because I want to make sure that you walk out of there and go, wow, this was great, right? And most people do. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So renegademedia.tv/matrix, renegademedia.tv/matrix. Now we'll put that up on the screen for you so you can see it right there. renegademedia.tv/matrix. And that is the info. And June 14th and 15th.
Wow. Sounds like you're going to be busy. That sounds amazing. Thank you for giving a discount to the audience, by the way. And folks, full disclosure, I get nothing out of this whatsoever. So I'm just supporting Robert, and he's supporting.
Oh, that's not
audience.
True. I'll give you a big hug when I see you. Come on.
A big hug. Okay, cool. That's good. And I'm supporting Robert also because he's giving such a substantial discount to my audience, which I appreciate. This sounds very hands-on, and I believe that's ultimately really, really cool. And I know you've had super success doing this for decades, actually. Isn't that right?
Yep. Yeah, I switched out and go doing coaching, one-on-one coaching, and then eventually you say, okay, I got to coach more. So I started to coach in groups, and then I started to do seminars and 2-day, 3-day seminars and on this content, and people were just blown away. I've been following Law of Attraction, Jerry and Esther Hicks for better than 20 years, so I'm really well versed in it, and we'll be able to help anybody. And we'll do some coaching too. So if somebody's got issues or something that's really caught in their craw and they can't break free of it, we'll put you on screen and we'll work with you right there, and we'll get it resolved for you. And that's kind of the fun of the whole event. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to come up.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Robert, I appreciate your time. Thank you for bringing me on today. And folks, just know we've got this.
We do.
It's take a deep breath, get grounded, get right with God, and get your vibration so high that it's impenetrable to negativity. And that's how the cabal will fall. So thanks, Robert. We'll see you later, folks.
This is how we end. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Have a great week, and we'll see you